Good morning and welcome to the autopsy of her. Happy Wednesday to you. I hope you all are having a wonderful, as we refer to, hump day. We're in the middle of the week and we're halfway there. So just hold on. We are halfway there. So I am Iris Denise Owens, and on the line with me is my beautiful sister and co-host. Good morning, honey bunny.
Stephanie Gianni Green. Good morning, honey bunny.
How are you?
I am fantastic. I feel
Yes,
good. I
yes.
got some sleep last night. That
Oh,
feels real good.
listen. That's always the making of a great day and a great
Yes,
night.
it is.
Yes, absolutely. And so we're going to jump right in. From last week, we were talking about just, how God is real and how things happen and how things click when you are, spiritually connected to another human being. And so we're kind of going to kind of stay right there on that topic because as all these events in our lives are playing out, we're still noticing these continuous mirroring of one another's situations right now in this moment in time in our lives. And so last week we were talking about how, we were comparing notes about our new homes and how things were going, but these numbers keep coming up.
They
And
do.
so, so we keep coming up to the half or 50 or something. And so it has prompted me to say I was going to look up the number 50. And so I looked it up in its, in a biblical form. And I looked it up also in other, definitions. And so we're going to go with that 50 is a symbol of freedom, it is release, and it's a new cycle. And I think that's so appropriate for where we
Mhm,
are right now. Because for
mhm,
both of us, there is new freedom going on in different aspects of our lives, right? And I
mhm.
always feel like freedom is important because without freedom, then you are locked in or you're stifled or
Stuck.
or you're stuck or you don't move or you become fearful of newness, and
Mhm.
or you become too comfortable in a situation, whereas we already know nothing in life is guaranteed.
No,
Even the things that are supposed to be guaranteed, there is nothing that's guaranteed.
not
um,
at all.
we're only guaranteed that in life there will be change. You are guaranteed that even it's just like we sign contracts and we sign all these things to say from this date on you will forever be this, right? Or you will forever live here, or you will forever carry this last name, or you will forever be. And I kind of feel like there's very few things that really sticks and stays with.
That's what
I
we have amendments for.
Amen. That's right. Because in real estate, we have amendments, honey, because there are things that can come up that will require
Mhm.
you to have to amend a situation or amend
Absolutely.
a
Absolutely.
contractual agreement. And
Mhm.
so it's interesting because, right, in an amendment says we agreed to do this thing, but
But
somewhere
now we decide to do something else.
but now we've decided to do something else.
We
And
needed you to sign right here. We need
right.
you to sign right here and initial it too.
And additional two and dated.
I dated, right?
And then we have to say all parties agree. And
Absolutely.
so it's very interesting, but we're going to focus on this 50 being a symbol of freedom, being a release, and being a new cycle. Um, in life, as we talk about on the autopsy of her, is that life is an ever evolving process.
Mhm.
um if you're not evolving, you're not living. If
That's
you're
true.
not evolving, you're stagnant. If you're
Mhm.
not evolving, you could be stuck. And
Mhm. True.
so it's always good, like many of us make, like at the beginning of every year, people make new year resolutions.
Mhm.
Stop making new year resolutions a very long time ago.
Me
And
too.
I think one of the things we have to focus on in life is that because every day is a new day,
Truly.
every day is a new day,
That's
regardless of
right.
you regardless of the fact that you wake up in the same home, or you drive the
Hmm.
same car, or you go to the same place of business, or you eat the same breakfast. It is still a new day.
It
And I
is. It
think
is.
we take it for granted. And the way we take it for granted is because we get up every day sometimes without plans,
Hmm.
or we get up every day with the same plans that we had yesterday, and that we
Hmm.
had a year ago, and that we had
Hmm.
5 years ago, and that we had 30
Hmm.
years ago. And so, if we are evolving, we were created to evolve, to change, to learn, to new, to excel, to go forward in things. And so, every day should be a new examination of, what am I doing today?
Exactly.
Where's my life going? And so, when we find ourselves evolving, then we find ourselves in new cycles of life.
Hmm.
I think sometimes we look at 50, like 50 is a golden number in terms of turning 50.
Hmm.
It's a big deal when you turn 50, because you've
Oh, it
lived.
is. It was a great,
Yeah.
great deal for me.
Like, you've lived half a century. Yay.
Exactly.
Yay. Okay. But what have I done in that half a century? And not only that, where am I going now for the other half, right? And so 50, like, is interesting because 50 is halftime, right?
Hmm. Yep, that's right.
50 is half of 100%. So it's 50%
Hmm.
and it's half of 100%. And
Hmm.
so I think we have to start looking at our lives as to, like I said, not making New Year's resolutions, but on a regular basis, you should be examining your life as to what you're doing, where you're going, how you're going to get there, what you need to change, what you need to free yourself from, what you need to release yourself from, and then what you need to put into a new cycle, or what new cycles maybe you need to engage in. And some,
Exactly. And you know, like you need to also, like for me, when I turned 50, it was it didn't I didn't remember right away.
mm-hmm,
But after I was like, oh my God, no, my father who raised me, I found him dead at 50.
interesting.
And yeah, I was like, wow, and then I thought about his life and how it was sad for him to be the person to treat me the way that he did, all the issues that he had. But he was just only 50, you know,
Mm-hmm,
and that made me want to like just do better in my life. My brother was found dead at 45. He didn't even make it to 50.
mm-hmm,
Same thing, like really, really sad. And it's like, it just it makes me like, this, 50 was a big beginning for me. I was, in my separation, I wasn't, divorced yet, but I knew that was definitely the outcome of what was going on in my life. So it
mm-hmm.
was a big renewal thing for me to like, I could start this life and really have a happy life on the other side of, 50, on the other side of this.
Right.
And that's a beautiful thing, because some people really do feel like, oh, my life is ending at 50. No,
Mm-mm.
your life could just be beginning for you,
Right.
because as long as it's your attitude. Anything can happen to anybody. You
Absolutely.
cannot, especially in this day and time. Oh, only God knows when we expire, and no one knows when that's going to be. But
Right.
until that happens, continue to live your life. What I mean, as if it's golden, because it is golden.
It is.
To be here and happy and healthy, and not think like, oh, I'm 50. I should dress like this. I should look like. I don't understand none of that. I'm definitely going to stress for my age, but we dress youthful.
Yeah.
We both do.
Yes.
And I know people younger than us that be like, and you're wearing that, why? But
And we
because
say, and
because
you're
you
wearing
feel
that? Why? Yeah. Yeah.
exactly, but it's like, and not only that, it's how you feel about, just like this is something new for us.
Yes.
It's not like, oh, now we shouldn't try nothing new. We shouldn't start nothing new. You should always be evolving, growing, starting new things, learning new things.
Yes,
That's what keeps you youthful. It's
absolutely.
not it's not how you dress. It's really your mindset. Because as long as you're eager to learn and you forever have the eyes and the mind like a child, you will always be youthful.
Right.
That's
Right.
what's most important. And it
Yeah.
keeps you happy too. Like, okay, what can I learn? Go learn things today. What can I learn
Right.
today? And I can honestly say every day I learn something new and enjoy
As
it.
you should. As you should. And
And look forward to the day.
it allows you to the opportunity. Again, it's a freedom. I believe that when you turn 50 in life, for many of us, it's a it's a it's like a new coming into this new person.
It is.
I think that's where the freedom comes in, because
Hmm.
at 50, you think back to when you were 25. And
Hmm.
at 25, I know I could not even imagine being 50. I mean, of course, I wanted to live to
Yeah,
see
yeah,
it,
I understand what you're saying. I
but
understand what you're
I
saying.
couldn't imagine what being 50 would feel like at 25. Um, and not only that,
I
I
mean,
think,
yeah.
and at 50, you, most people at 50 pretty much, depending on if you've had children, now your children are leaving home, right? Or they're getting close to the point of leaving home, they're graduating, they're going to college, or, they may be having children, or if not, you know, you see them evolving into who they're going to become and who they're working to becoming. And so at 50, it's a newness, because for me, like I've said before, at 50 is when I decided that I would start running, doing 5K runs. I had
Exactly.
never been a runner in my entire life. But at 50, and as of today, I've completed, I think, at least 12 or 14 runs, and getting ready. I'm signing up for another one for 2022, you know? And so I think at 50, you now are looking back at your younger self, and you have advice. As you know, people always say, what would you say to your younger self? And and I think for my younger self, I would say, just never forget that fire that you have in yourself. Never forget that passion that you have for life. Never forget that there is still so much for me to do, so much for me to discover about myself, about the world, about my life, about who I am, and who I'm becoming. Because again, we're ever evolving, you know.
Hmm.
With every day being a new day, you have to wake up with that attitude. And you also have to learn how to release. Like I always say,
Hmm.
you gotta open up your hands and just say, hey, what's for me is for me. And if you keep holding on to things that you should have released a long time ago, or you just need to release, period. And that's on any level of your life, whether it's, a job, a relationship, things. And I'm talking things, because sometimes we hold on to things because we believe that these things have such value and such sentimental values to us, and sometimes they don't. and
Hmm.
and you know that by the way of, let's just say you've been holding on to something, and then all of a sudden you lose it, right? And when you lose
Hmm.
it, the loss of it will determine how much it really meant to you.
Exactly. It's true.
Because
Hmm.
once you lose it and you know that you're never going to see it again, there's no chance of finding it. um if you can move on, then you're like, well, you know what, it is what it is. But sometimes we get stuck in the loss of things, which then creates us to be stifled and not allow ourselves to be free to move, free to grow, free
Hmm.
to explore. um
Hmm.
and I think at 50, a lot of people get into the mindset of, oh, I should start settling now. i'm
Hmm.
I'm not settling nothing.
Not selling nothing, nothing, nothing,
Nothing. You hear me?
nothing,
Nothing.
nothing.
Absolutely
No.
nothing.
No,
That is
wait a minute. I'm really not settling. What I would have settled for maybe when I was 25, I'm definitely not settling for when I'm 50.
definitely not.
Get that.
Definitely
If
not.
I had to tell my 25-year-old self something, I would say slow down and enjoy the ride.
Yes.
I was always like thinking like, and not because I thought 25 was old. My mom who raised me, she was 42 when I was born. So
Right.
when I was 8 years old, she was 50.
Yes.
And she had all her sisters that were older than her. And these are all the women that I spent a lot of time with.
Right.
So for me, that was always young. So I never thought about that. I just knew I had a long life, but I just wanted to, like, I always wanted, I hated dating. That was really it. I still really don't like dating. So I just wanted to like settle down. Didn't necessarily want to have children very young, but I did want to like settle down. But I still continued with my life,
Hmm.
no matter what. But for me, I looked at to be important. So I enjoyed it, but I could have enjoyed it more. But then sometimes I look back and I'm like, oh, all the things I did accomplish and all the things that I did do, I did a lot, and really enjoyed. I had a two-seater sports car, and for
Hmm.
10 years, it was just me and my pocketbook, you know.
Yes. A seat for me
Honey,
and a seat for my pocketbook. Yes,
a
ma'am.
secret pocketbook. And we were rolling, so I wasn't trying to like, run with a whole bunch of people. Or you didn't have no room for a car seat. Although I used to pick up my nephew, but
Right.
it just was like that was my mentality. I was on the move and just like and didn't think of anything. It was a convertible too to jump up, hop in my car, and go. It was a 5 speed too, my little red, car. I was like, I had a good time. So
Yes.
it really wasn't, so when you're in it, you think it was so bad, but it
Yes.
wasn't. Lived on
No.
my own for 5 years, had a really, nice place. And it kind of is funny, it sets the pace of how your life is now because I never engaged in a whole bunch of company
Mm.
even then, very few people knew where I lived or, I welcomed into my home. So, and it's like the same way that, we live now, even with my children, even when I was married. Never, when we gave something, we gave something. I think when I lived myself for 5 years, I never, well, yeah, I would have things at my house. But I didn't do a lot of stuff like that. Sometimes when you're single, you got a nice place and everybody come over. Hey, I was never that kind of person.
And see,
You
that was,
know.
and I'm the complete opposite of you because I love social events. And so I love to host events. And that's always been my thing. Like, whenever looking for a home, I'm always looking for the home that's the entertainment home. It has
Hmm.
to flow. It has to be able to, people have to be able to mix and mingle and talk and da da da. That's my thing. Because I am truly a social butterfly. I love
Yeah,
people. I
you
love
are.
to be
You are.
around people. I love to be, have people over. I love to feed people. I love to cook for people. So I just think when you become, when you get into that second half of life,
Hmm.
and everything beyond that, it is like we said, it's a mindset. It's all about who you think you are and what you think you can do.
Hmm.
My I was talking to my team leader today, and he, unfortunately, his mom passed away this weekend.
Oh,
um,
wow.
his mom was 96, and
Wow.
his aunt, who was the youngest of the family, is the only one now left, and she's 90. And so, when you
Reminds me of my family.
and you look at, right, exactly, when you and I've never met his mom, but in listening to him talk about his mom and his aunt, so his mom was sickly, and his mom, he said, because he had gone to see her probably about 3 weeks ago, or about maybe a month ago. She was up in New Jersey, and he was saying
Mhm.
that, he's like, my mom has really told us that she's ready to go. Like, she's tired of the living. She's like, she just wants to go. Whereas his
Mhm.
aunt, who's 90, is jet setting all around the world and all around the city, driving her.
Enjoy herself.
She's still taking classes at the local college, and she's going
That's
out
it.
socializing and meet with her friends. And I said, see, that's the life. That's the life I want at
That's
90.
it.
As long
That's
as there
it.
is breath and there is mobility to be able to move, to walk, to talk, to dance, to shake it, to drop it like it's hot, that's going to be this girl. I tell y'all all the time, I'm gonna ride this life until the wheels fall off. And if it falls
Hey, I'm
off,
right there with you.
I'm gonna find a way to put the wheel back on until the lights go out. And I just think sometimes we stifle ourselves and we forget that we have a life to live. We
Mhm.
take on all the roles we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Like, it's exciting and it is a privilege and an honor to be a daughter, to be a sister,
Mhm.
to be a wife, definitely to be a mother, to be a career person.
Mhm.
It is a privilege and an honor. But
It is.
for me, I am more concerned though about what's the footprint that I leave, that my life
Mhm.
impacted upon
Mhm.
each human being that I encountered, and
Mhm.
is said about, or what I leave as a legacy in terms
Mhm.
of how I impacted other people's lives positively, how I
Mhm.
how I helped someone to move from one place to another place,
Mhm.
how I influenced someone to do something different, to think differently, to move differently. And I think, to me, that's more important. And I'm not saying that titles of the things of who we are and the roles we play in life are not important, but I do think our greatest role in life is to leave a positive footprint. And
Absolutely.
I think you have to, you're going to spend your whole entire life doing that. And you can only
Mhm.
do that if you're living life. If you're
That's
not
true.
if
You're
you're
right.
not living
Mhm.
your life, if you're not evolving in life, if you're not living freely and moving about and sharing your life with other people, then you're stifled, you're stuck, and you're not living a full impactful life. And you just have to learn how to do that. I just think that's important. As human beings, we were not designed, we were not created to sit still and let
Or to be alone. Or to
or
be alone
or
like
to
that.
be alone. I mean, look at a tree. A tree can't move from the place in which it's planted, but the tree blooms every year,
Mhm.
and the tree dies every year, and then
Mhm.
the tree
That's
blooms
right.
again. And
Mhm.
that's how you
That's
have to
true.
look at yourself. And you know that you're a tree,
Mhm. Mhm.
but you're a tree. You can bloom and you're not going to die all the way.
Mhm.
You may
Exactly.
you may have periods of death through
Mhm.
life, because
Mhm. Situations, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
because different situations in life, things do have to come to a close and have to die.
That's right.
We have to
Exactly.
yeah,
Absolutely. For you to move
we have
on.
to die to self in order to be a
Mhm.
servant. We have to die to
Mhm.
self to not be selfish. We have to die to self
Mhm.
to be able to
That's right.
sacrifice for other people and
Mhm.
to help other
Mhm.
people. But at the same
Absolutely.
time, we are not rooted in the ground.
Nope.
A tree
Mhm.
can't just get up and go, I don't like it over here. It's too hot by this side of the side of the lake. And I'm gonna
Let
just
me go. Let me go plant myself by the water.
right. Let me go by the water so I could be cooler and I could be, and then when
Yeah.
it gets hot again, I could move back over here. Thank God we're not trees. God did not.
Thank God. Thank God. Exactly.
It's like God created, you know, animals with wings. When they get ready, they're like, I'm out. Peace, deuces.
Honey, yes. They'll fly away in a heartbeat.
So think about it, that we have a mind, we have eyes, we have taste, we have touch, we have feet, and we have hands. And we have the ability, if we don't like it someplace anymore, we could be like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go over here.
That's right. Yeah. And don't follow me.
Right. And don't follow me.
But when you were saying about how you I do like to entertain, but I think that when probably not as much as you. Probably I will entertain though, because every time people come over, I'm entertaining, but
Yes,
like just to plan
absolutely.
something. But my parents, oh my God, they entertain. Oh, Sunday mornings, I woke up, stepping over bodies, everybody sleeping on
Yeah.
the floor, all their friends. Because, I mean, it would be like now I hung out on a Saturday night, or I come home and I'm sleeping. I can smell food, and my mother, she didn't even tell me, oh, we having a cookout. Or next thing I know, all my cousins come from the Bronx. I'm
Yes.
literally in my room sleeping. They're in my room. Get up, get up.
Yes.
Everybody's at the house. I've
Yes.
never been an early morning person. Never been a morning person. I'm nocturnal, but I just will remember that. Enjoy that. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
Yes.
for my father's birthday, is September 13th. And we used to have crab boil every year.
Yes.
And we would go down, to the South Street Seaport in New York, buy
Yes.
all the bushels of crabs and
Yes.
come back. So it was like a 2-day event.
Yes.
Buy a new garbage can, he put all the seasoning in the garbage can, and cook the crabs all night long. And
Yes.
then the whole block would be invited
Yes.
amongst
Absolutely.
all of our relatives. And I think because I have such a huge family, it doesn't take much for it all of a sudden to
Yes.
become something with having 11 siblings
Yes.
and a whole nieces. I mean, like just like it's a gaggle of us. And even though all of us don't communicate all the time, but just the ones that communicate, it becomes like a gaggle of people.
Absolutely. That's the thing, and that's the
I think I got like 30 first cousins.
and
Okay.
I think that's why I love to entertain, because though I'm an only child, but
Mhm,
my mother is one of 10. And
mhm,
so my father was an only child. So I had the
mhm,
best of both worlds, because that's why I love being with my family,
mhm,
because I love the opportunity anytime that my family would come over to hang out, or my family came over, like, back in the day, my cousins would come over with my mom on Fridays, or my aunts would come over on the weekends. And so
mhm,
sometimes there were kids, sometimes there weren't kids, but
mhm.
I watched those women sit around the table and solve the problems of the world. You know
And
what
yes, yes, yes,
I
yes.
mean?
I used to call
Yes.
my aunts the knights of the round table,
Oh,
solving the
I love
problem.
it. Yes, I love it. And so sometimes that's what's missing in our lives today. The knights
Mhm.
of the round table, or, having the ability to come into sister circles, to speak and to share with one another, because that
Mhm.
is one of the things we don't do as much as we need to. And that is
Or
looking
as
out
much as we
for one
used to.
another, looking out for one another,
Mhm, mhm,
and touching base with one another to make sure that your sister over here is okay,
mhm.
regardless of what you see on the outside. Because a lot of times, if you have discernment, you can see people. You cannot see a person for years. Or you can,
Mhm.
like we talk about all the time, we could pick up the phone and say, "What's
Hear
wrong?
your voice. Mhm,
What's wrong?"
mhm.
I can't
That's
see your
right.
face, but immediately you're like, "What's wrong?" You said that to me
Mhm.
today, because I had just spoken to you about 15 minutes before we got on the podcast, and you said, "Wait a minute, what happened?" You leaned into the camera. You said, "Wait, your spirit changed from when I just spoke to you," you know? And that's what I'm saying. We live so many times right now, we live in isolation
You
of
do.
not sharing with one another, or not checking in on people. And then we are so, to a degree, we're so prideful that we don't want other people to know what's going on when life is not going well. And to me, that's a sad thing, because we all need each other. We
Oh, we
all
do. We
Yeah,
do.
we
No
need
man
each
is an island. Yeah, we do need
Yeah,
each
no
other.
man's an island.
You know.
And you would be amazed that when you start talking to someone else, and of course people you can trust, not just anyone.
Oh no, yeah, that. Oh, of course not.
You don't need to share your life with people who are not going to pour into your life positively. So if you're sharing with people who are just going to take what you said to them and then destroy it, tear it apart, add to it, take away from it, whatever, that's not what you need. But to have people who care about you, it's always important to know that there's somebody you can talk to, someone you can share with, someone
Yes, that's
who could
important. That's
help
important.
you,
Yeah.
ash
I
out
just
what
be
you may be
mhm,
going through. It's very important.
exactly.
But
Yeah,
a
so
lot of
like I know
times
I
we sit
was saying
still and don't
one of
say
my
anything.
show, huh?
I
No, but
said, but
it's
a lot
true.
of
You
times
need to.
we sit still and we don't say anything because we don't want people to know what's going on.
Well, I think yeah, that's true. And then you need to find somebody you trust to be able to share that with, and know that's not going to go no further between the two of you.
Absolutely.
I don't have that problem, but even if you know what's going on, I have a tendency I get into my shell, but I'm still going to tell you what's going on. And then
Right.
sometimes because I have a high tolerance level for pain, and like I just think that that's how I'm supposed to feel sometimes, and not recognizing that it's like, no, that's a little bit too much now.
Right. And we
So
share that. We share that. And that's a dangerous trait to
it is
have.
dangerous.
We
It is
both have that
dangerous.
same trait, high tolerance for pain. So
Hmm.
look at your life from that. So that's a good point, Steph. I love that. I'm glad you brought that up. It's like having a high tolerance for pain does put you in a very dangerous spot
It does.
because your body is sending you a signal. Pain is the body's way of saying, hey, something's wrong over here.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so if you have a high
Mental
tolerance
pain,
for pain,
physical pain.
right, but if you have a high tolerance for pain, what you do is you ignore the pain or
Hmm.
talk yourself into, it's not all that, I'm gonna be fine, I'm gonna be okay. I'm one of those people. Steph's one of those
Hmm.
people. I had a ruptured appendix, was home for 3 days thinking that I had food poisoning because I was enduring the pain. I didn't see any reason to go to the doctor. And then it was like I had a fever. It's like, you gotta go to the doctor. Like you can't do this anymore. And I get to the doctor only to find out that yes, my appendix was oozing. An appendix, though they say it has no purpose, it has some
And
purpose
now, yeah,
because
yeah,
because if that thing bursts, it can kill you. So it has
exactly.
some purpose. Whatever it collects in that sac, that your appendix sac, if that is released into your body, it is definitely going to poison your entire
But because
appendix.
it's toxins,
It-
it
it's
was it's right. It was created. Well, the why we have it is because we have evolved. But when we used to eat foods that weren't pasteurized or wasn't cooked and had like different pesticides, like not pesticides, but when they had different things that could kill you, or the food that wasn't healthy for you because you couldn't
right,
cook it. That's really what it was.
right, right,
And that's why that was the purpose for it.
right,
That's why you could take it out and live, because now the food is
right.
cooked, you cook
Right.
all the stuff out of it. Like, I guess what, like um the little parasites, like
Yes,
parasites and things of
yes,
that nature.
right.
That's why.
So,
Yeah.
but if you're like us and you keep thinking, I'm gonna keep pushing, I'm gonna keep pushing. I don't care. Okay, your thumb hurts and it's throbbing. It's like boom, 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 boom. See, the two of us will be like, it'll be all right. I'm gonna write with the other hand. I'll learn how to write
Exactly.
left-handed. I'm just left-handed. Never mind. You know,
Exactly.
and those are the moments. Now I'm gonna tell you now, that's not the place to be free. That's not the place to be non-evolving. If something hurts, you need to address it and pay attention because your body is like, imagine your body being your laptop. When your laptop is overloaded, what does it do? It'll start flashing at you, or
Hmm.
it sends you messages, and it's like my email box the other day, prime example. 2 weeks ago, I could not send emails from my business account. I kept saying, what is going on? And finally, I had a message. Microsoft says, hey, your mailbox is full, and if you don't empty it, it says now you can't send messages, and if you continue on and you don't empty it, you won't be able to receive them either. So here I am panicking, like, okay, I need those emails though. I can't just delete all these emails. But I did. I had to. I at least went back and deleted everything that was 12 months and older. And
Wow.
then the problem went away. So your
Hmm.
life is the same way. You wake up every
It's true.
day, but you have to release some of the stuff that's in your life so that you can evolve and you can run more efficiently and
Which
not
is
break
true.
down, you
Because
know?
I think that sometimes like I could be telling you something, and I'm like, so it's like this, like you can look at me like that's not good, like because
Right.
like and it's like that high tolerance for pain, emotional pain, physical pain. I
Yes.
never forget when I was brutally raped and attacked, and then the next day was Memorial Day, and I go to the cookout and I was saying. And she's like, you don't feel. I'm like, can you believe like somebody raped me at gunpoint last night? And you know, I was sodomized and oh my, she was looking at me like, when this happened? I said, last night. Are you like,
Yes.
and you're just,
And why are you here talking about this as if
you
like
know,
you
not
just
really realizing that I'm in shock.
yes.
I was in shock, but I'm still like, even when now, when I share that story, it's not me. I mean, it's been so many years ago now, but I still don't feel like it's like I'm out of the body of the situation. So
Yes.
that's really how I share my story, just to share my story, let other people, let other people know you're not by yourself.
Yes.
So, and it's like that, even when I tell you something, that when you say it, then when you tell whatever it is emotionally to somebody else, like you and I have done, and then when I see the look on your face, I'm like, oh, well, maybe, that is really serious. Like I should be,
Yeah. Maybe I
dealing
should
with,
go ahead
I
and
guess I'm
separate
dealing with
that.
it, but I'm just like how I ended up in the hospital. Like I'm just,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, but it's because I was born in emotional pain, and that probably all stems from me being abandoned and all these kind of things that, because sometimes, people and that pain is so on their face about all the things that happened to them.
Yes.
I've even seen, like, my nephew used to be like the saddest little baby,
Yeah.
and he just ended up having a sad life and then being murdered at 21. But he was a sad baby. And I just was never that person. I mean, that you could see it unless you really know me. But even if you know me, like certain things, and it's not like it's been since I was a child. So when you're a child, you're very, you don't know how to pretend like you're okay and you're not. It just is something inner. It's really God inside of me that I could still smile. I could still go on and, and just move through it. I know when my father came after me and tried to molest me on my 13th birthday, that day I got away from him. I took a walk and I'm just thinking to myself, like, what am I going to do about this? But, and what it did do for me, like, I never was really enjoyed my birthdays for many, many years because of that. But I never, like, when people who saw me that day didn't think that's what had just, happened to me, you know, that this man that had me in his care from 3 months old tried to, all of a sudden have sex with me on my 13th birthday. But so I just, unless you know my story, people would look at me and say, oh, because some people you could see that pain on them.
Right.
And, and it's just like, and it's not me hiding it, because if I tell you, then it's like, that really happened to you? You're like, yeah, that
Mhm.
happened. So, yeah, but you have to, like, and sometimes I need to just tell that story. I mean, not that, any story, like, and just because I miss it, like I need to share it, like, with you. And he's like, yeah, you I can see that you probably should feel that way. That's serious, like on my,
But you know what, Steph? That's what we learn in life, though. As you said earlier, it's innate. It's something that happens within you as a person. And I don't think sometimes it's not even that something has happened. It is just a characteristic of what you're born with.
Mm,
But that becomes dangerous too, because what it is that we learn how to mask everything. We learn how to minimalize everything in our
mm.
lives
That's what is minimalized,
because
right?
we
Uh-huh.
learn how to minimalize. We just
Mhm.
go because I used to say that about I say that about myself even still sometimes like you. Things will happen whereas somebody else would be like, "Oh my god, this happened to me and I just can't move. I can't do anything." For me, you know what, that when something happens tragic to me, I have to move. You know why? Because I'm
Mhm.
afraid of going down a
That
path
rabbit hole.
that I
Yeah,
don't know how to get back out of.
exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
afraid.
Exactly.
I'm afraid. I am godly afraid of going down a path. And I'm not talking a physical path. I'm talking about
No.
some mental, emotional
Mhm.
journey
Mhm.
in
Yep.
my spirit, in my mind, my
Exactly.
soul, my heart,
Exactly.
and that I will be captured in some sort of
That you can't recover from. I know.
I just can't. And so
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm a bounce back girl. I'm like,
Mhm. Mhm. Me too.
you throw me on the ground, I got a boing. Now, at some point in time, I'm going to deal with it and I try my best to deal with it head on. But I just don't know, because I have seen too many times where people are broken,
Yes, and they
just
never heal.
broken, and they never heal.
I have too, and that's a scary place to be,
And that's a
because then
that is
you have no, then you literally have no life. You have nothing to fight for. Your spirit is broken. Your mental health is broken. You're just there.
yes,
You're just like a vessel with nothing, and you're
with
like empty inside.
right,
Basically like an empty vessel, and it's sad. I mean, I see people like walking around like that, but
yes,
their functioning level is so low. The way they engage,
yes,
because they're really an empty vessel. They're so broken. They're
yes.
barely functioning. And that, yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
And
Because when I had
that's a
the
place I'm not willing to go to.
I'm not willing to go to either. When I had the acute respiratory failure the first time, and they got me up the incubator, and I was trying to leave the hospital, and the lady's like, the nurse, I need to really speak to you. And she said, "Who called 911?" And I said, "My son did." She said, "Your son saved your life."
Mm,
She said, "I'm telling you," she said, "you needed to get to the hospital so much sooner than you did." And she said, "You're lucky that your son saved your life."
yes.
And then, 3 weeks later, I'm back there in the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
And this time, you know, when it's so weird because I don't know, like I said to you, I think before, I don't know where I was. But when now I remember when I woke up in this white space, I was not incubated,
Mm,
but there was no one around me, but they were slapping me like, she won't wake up, she won't wake up. And I'm just like, I'm trying to talk and I can't talk. I'm trying to move, I can't move. Only thing that was functioning was my brain.
mm,
And it reminded me of this Twilight movie, the Twilight TV show was one of the shows years ago. I was a little girl when I saw, but some things you remember. And the guy, same thing, his brain was working, but nothing else. And they
mm-hmm.
was getting ready to bury him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying in my mind, like, but I'm here, I'm alive, but I can't move, I can't do anything. And I'm like, and I just started praying at that point. I was scared, but then also when I started praying, I felt better. I said, God, I got to do better. I want to live more life. I just got to do better. I just got to do better. And this was just like in January.
Right.
And then when I woke up, I was incubating. I was in ICU, and I was asking them, so who was slapping me? No one knew what I was talking about.
Right.
So who knows where I was in my state,
And
but I knew it.
there is a name for that. There is actually a condition where people have been buried or getting or have been pronounced as dead, and I we need to look that up, because I know that is a real thing. Um,
Mhm,
where you are conscious mentally, but your body, it's like your heartbeat is so faint that
mhm,
you can't read your heartbeat, but you're not dead, and that's a real thing. And that's what I mean. I think for me, I think that could happen to a person when you have been traumatized to a point where your brain, your mind, your heart, your spirit decides, I got to protect myself from this, and I physically can't protect myself from it. So the only place I can go is go inside of my head, is go
mhm,
inside of my spirit, go inside of my mind. That's the only place I can run there. And so again, you can go there and sometimes not be able to return because you've
mhm,
been traumatized so much, you know. And that's the thing about this whole podcast is not about doom, but it is about the reality of the traumas that we experience in life, and that sometimes we're not given the tools to navigate through the
that's
trauma,
right.
right? We either learn how to mask it, we learn how to
Mhm,
minimalize it, we learn how to we're told sometimes, you shut up, because why? No one's ever going to believe you.
mhm, right, yeah,
No, no,
exactly.
no one will ever believe you, right? Or you know what? You wanted that. You did
Mhm,
it.
mhm,
And they
that's
know,
right.
they saw you wearing that little skirt. They know you, they're gonna say it's your fault.
Mhm, mhm,
So there are so many moments in life where we can be traumatized. And I'm not talking about, that's not just women, that's just people in
People, right?
general.
That's right.
We all experience trauma, and it is important that we learn how to deal with trauma. When we see sometimes people, as you said, you see people who may be homeless and they have a family, but they're walking around on the streets and they're talking out loud and they're shouting obscenities, but you find out this person had a PhD or is a PhD, right?
Exactly.
This person once had a family. This person once had a life. This person had children. This person they had amazing success in life as we measure success in life.
Exactly.
However, now this person is broken. There's something happened that broke this person's spirit so badly that they're stuck in that realm of their life,
Mhm.
and they don't know how to come back out of it, or
That's right.
they've chosen not to come back out of it.
Mhm.
We don't
Mhm.
know, because the
Mhm.
mind, the brain is not something you can't open it up and go, let me see what you're
Exactly.
thinking.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can really figure out where you're going when your thoughts. You can. If we could, mental illness would not be a thing, but it is a thing
It
now.
wouldn't be a thing.
It's
But the
all
brain is powerful because you sleep and you go to sleep and your brain keeps everything moving, keeps the heart pumping, it keeps
absolutely.
everything going. It's amazing. It's an
It's
amazing thing. So when it's fractured, it's very
Yeah.
dangerous
When it's
when it's
broken,
fractured.
it's broken, and it can throw so many things off in
Yes.
your life.
Mhm. Exactly.
But it's just important. Like I said, we started out just talking about numbers and just saying, because it's just the significance of things in life. And we're not philosophers, right?
Mhm.
But what
Just here for like 56 years,
I was
almost
gonna say,
57 years.
but what we are are two grown behind women who have lived life.
Exactly. And still living life.
And I have a PhD in living life.
Exactly.
Stephanie
Exactly.
has a PhD in living life,
That's
right?
so true. But
And
that's how the podcast started, though, with us. I'm just coming out of the hospital. I think the first time, right?
yes,
It was the first time.
yes,
And
because
then I said,
we didn't start the podcast because you went back in the hospital.
I went back in the hospital.
And I was
But I
like,
said,
okay, this is coming to an end. I'm like, this is there. We're not doing this. I was like, I clearly remember the conversation. I was like, hey, listen, I love you, right? But we gonna
yep,
talk.
that's what she
We
said.
got to talk.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I love you,
yeah.
right? But
Uh-huh.
it's you gotta let some stuff go. I mean, for real.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
When all the doctors came out of my ICU room was surrounding me, like, okay, we know you have asthma. We
yes,
know you have severe asthma, but
right,
this is deeper than asthma. This
absolutely,
emotional thing that's going on
yes,
with you, what happened? What
yes,
happened in
yes,
your life? What's
yes,
happened to you lately? What's happened?
yes. And that's what
It
I
was,
said. I said,
yeah, you did, you
I
did.
know what you're telling me, but this is not just physical. And that's
Yeah.
the thing we have to remember. In our lives, we are a body. We have bones and skeleton and skin, but remember, you are a spirit first. And
Hmm.
when your spirit is bothered, or your spirit is unsettled, or your spirit
That's
is
right.
hurt and damaged, it radiates on the outside of
Hmm.
what's going on the inside. And it's
Yeah.
important to pay attention when your body starts talking to you. Even the simple things we think, oh, I have a headache. Okay, a headache means something's going on. Something's
Exactly.
something's
Yeah.
off in your body, whether it's stress, whether it's hunger, but
You're tired, right?
you're tired. It's telling you something's wrong. You
Absolutely.
had too much sugar. You didn't have enough sugar. You didn't eat
Mhm.
enough food. You didn't fuel your body
Exactly.
enough.
It's so true.
Your body tells you what's going on, right?
And
And
I thought,
we ignore
I
those.
thought that with me, I thought that I eased out of this marriage because we did the coupling and we did this, but when I learned that second time about that, the ending of the marriage almost killed me, literally.
Yeah, well, it goes
And
back to, again, minimalizing and trying to see. We think, okay, if I ease my way out of this thing, that'll make it all the better. Because why? We don't want the kids to see us just break up like that. We both need to do this thing this way, or I need you so I can get here, or he needs you so he can get there. But what we do is we don't know how to stop our pain and realize, like you said, something's killing you. It's killing you, literally killing you. It's because you know what? It's draining every positive ounce of energy you have to do it, to get up every day and act like, okay, this is normal. It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
So
not.
when you wake up and then the furniture is disappearing out your house, you still
Yeah,
have the
it's
kids.
not. It's
I looked up my bedroom window and literally saw my furniture outside. I was like, and I just turned away, but I literally felt something.
of
And I
course
was like,
you did.
oh, this is furniture. I can replace that. But it was, it just took me, and it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. That's really what it was, on top of everything else.
Well, we are
That was
creatures.
it.
We are that. See, as human beings, we're cute creatures of habit, and that's why I said in the beginning, right? We sometimes we get stuck in habit. We get
Mm-hmm.
stuck in the status quo. We get stuck in a routine, and even when the routine is really not working for us,
Mm-hmm.
we figure out a way to circumvent it and keep saying, well, this is the best it's gonna be right now. Mm-mm. You know me, I'm a tent packer,
Jet
baby.
packer.
I'm a tent packer. If it don't feel good, if it don't look good, if it's stressing me, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna do, you live on that half, I live on this half. Um, we share this space, you share that space. No, mm-mm. Somebody is going, and most times it's gonna be me because
I thought that
I'm a protector.
I guess I never when I packed the tent my first night I was like, oh yeah, baby, it didn't take me long. I was up and out of there. But I didn't have children, I
Right,
wasn't all. So I think when it came to my children, I can honestly tell you, I just knew I had to. How could I make this happen? Because that's nothing I ever did before. If
right,
I dated you and we broke up, I just never saw you again.
right.
You know, so like, how do you do that? You know what I mean? And we talk about 20 something years. By the time we got
Oh
divorced,
yeah,
we had been together for like 24 years. And so I just really was trying to think of the best way. I mean, because my first inclination, I could just run out the door, and that's really how I felt. That's how he ended up with all the furniture, basically. Because I'm like, I didn't want the clothes, I didn't want nothing, I just wanted out.
right, right.
And then I had to be realistic. No, I have two children. I have all of these things. I can't just run out the store. But that was my first inclination. And when this all started was right before my mother died. And then my mother died. I'm in Savannah. And I was just in Savannah. Like, he's like, when are you coming home? I'm like, I don't know. I did not know. And then I came home and we had to move. We was in a new place. And I was like, oh my God, I just sat there in front of that house. Like, what am I going to do? And I never forget my brother said to me, you do not need to be moving in that house. You need to be moving into another house. I never forget my brother told me that.
See, your brother and I should have chatted. I should have called your brother.
My brother told me, he said, oh, no, no, no. You need to be moving into another house.
See,
And I said, well, I mean, between my mother dying and I was emotionally aside, I was a mess. I used
yeah,
to go to New York and just walk the streets and oh God, I was a mess. I was a mess. I'm not gonna lie, and just and I needed all of that, but then at the same time, all of that made me sick too. But when I came to the point that, like I said, if Savannah Savion was good, I was good, you know. But it was like, and I could have stopped the bleeding a long time ago. I just didn't know how to stop the bleeding because I just, like I said, we broke up. I just never saw you again. I never had to deal with you. I may have loved your family, but you're part of them. I'm gone. I'm just that person. So that other part, like having to have to still deal with this person because we have children, I was like, how do you do that? I admire anybody that does it. I admire you that how do you do that? After you feel that you allowed that person to cause you so much pain, and now I gotta still deal with you because we have these children. I was just like, I just didn't know how to do that,
Yeah.
you know. But I have learned. And I
Yes.
think that was what it was. I had to learn how to do that
Mm-hmm.
and keep it all together at the same time and keep it amicable. But it was hard.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
The many times is the things is though, see, your key word just now was that learn how to keep it amicable, and sometimes you have to go through the non-amicable to get to the amicable.
That's true.
Because whenever there are emotions involved between human beings, and then there are other people involved, i.e. children involved, right? Or things, houses, whatever, material. Nobody is like, well, I'm gonna take my ball and I'm gonna go home to my house. Because for how many years you didn't have a ball? Your ball was at my house, my ball was at your house, and then we shared some balls together. And so now when somebody decides, I'm really taking my ball, but I'm not leaving the house. Excuse me, what? What? No, 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 no. If you taking your ball, I need you to take your ball out the house, out the yard, off the curb, out the neighborhood. But you can't take your ball and just still be in the house and then be like,
I
well,
know.
I'm gonna sleep in the garage though. Excuse me, no. What kind of relationship is this? What are we doing here? We are not playing house. We are too old to play house, right? So it's evolving. Getting
Yeah.
together and falling in love is a great thing, but the falling out of love or deciding that we're not evolving together anymore is a major distraction and disruptor in one's life.
It is. It really
And
is. It's so true.
what we're taught though is that you have to just keep going. I still got to go to work every day. I still got to take care of my kids every day. I still got to pretend like I really like you, or you got to pretend like you really like me.
Like me.
And the truth is, we may really still love each other, but we definitely don't like each other. We're not taught that that's okay. It really is
Mhm,
okay, but we're not
mhm,
to be able to say that's okay. And if we could
mhm.
learn how to, in the new cycle of a life, in your life, in this new cycle, that you first got to learn freedom. You first got to
Yeah.
find your freedom. And your freedom is being able to say, I don't want to do this anymore. I definitely don't want to do this anymore the way we're doing it now. And what
Mhm.
I want for you is what I want for me. And that's to be at peace, and that's to be happy, and that's to be better. And so, how do we do that without creating any more harm, danger, hurt to one another? And when you learn to find that freedom and you find your own peace, then you can help the other person, they find their peace, right? And until you can get to that point, it's only this, because everybody wants what they want, when they want it, how they want it, where they want it. But when
But
you
with me, like I now that part I understood, but I wanted it. I guess I wanted it so much for him. I was like, oh my God, okay, you don't want to be married, you're unhappy. Like, I want you to be happy. Like, go be happy. Go be happy. I really felt like that because God knows, for my fear is that if somebody's with you and they're not happy with you, oh, that's a scary thing for me.
it
You
is,
know, as I think I've told you that story, how the man didn't want his wife, but he was killing her by poisoning her every day
yeah,
through sex, by putting so I think that when someone does not want you, oh, I just think it's a dangerous thing. And we've
yeah.
seen it all the time, these men
Or when
killing
you
these
don't,
women.
or the vice versa, or you don't want someone.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
We've
yeah,
all,
yeah.
we've all been someplace when been in situations where you're like, uh,
You got to walk out backwards. I never turn my back on you. Like,
I used
okay,
I
not.
used to really like you. I used to love you and I really used to like you. And now it's like, I don't like
Yeah,
you
either
for
way.
sure. I
Mm-hmm.
know I don't like
Yeah.
you. And I'm really
Mm-hmm.
questioning why I ever loved you. We've all
Mm-hmm.
been there. But
But
it
I
is
guess I'm saying like, I guess I was thinking, no, definitely we all. I guess I know me. If I don't like you and I want this over, I'm not gonna hurt you.
oh, absolutely not.
So I'm saying on. I just and I know I don't. I'm trying to think. I just know, but I think sometimes with men and probably with women too. I just don't know any personally that if you try to hold on to something, that man doesn't want you. He can physically hurt you
Oh,
or
yes.
kill you,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's the part that I fear. Not that I've seen anything like that in this person, but for me, I always go to a place that when a man doesn't want you and you try to hold on or you try to stick in there and he really does not want you, he could try to physically hurt you. So it's your best bet, to get up out of there, out of that
Yeah.
space as soon as you can. That's what I'm talking about. So my mind automatically goes there. So of course I don't want to sleep in the bed with you. I don't want to, that's just me. I mean, well, ask all the questions. You want to go, see, want to get help. You want to try to do this. You want to. I want to know those things. Not a problem. I'm the first to like hit the road, Jack, because I think that you're in a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
But just like my first marriage, I wanted to be out of that situation and I realized it wasn't good. Now he didn't want to let me go, and it could have became a very bad. I mean, I had to get restraining orders and everything. But I was up and out of there, and was like never looking back and did not look back because I knew that I felt like I was in danger.
Yeah.
Called my lawyer, was threatening my lawyer, and doing all these sorts of things. So that was like, I don't mess with that. You could love me today and tomorrow you say, I don't love you no more. I don't want to be with you. I'm like, okay, because I'm in fear for
Okay.
my life.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Yeah, but these people they don't want to love you, but they want us to hold on to you too
Yeah.
at the same time. No, that's okay.
Well, I just, like I said, life is about evolving. Life
Yes,
is
it is.
life is about finding your freedom. Life is really about
Mhm.
finding your peace. There is nothing better in life than peace.
You can't pay for it.
You can't pay for it.
My mother said, I'd rather live in a tiny little box than like, to like and have peace. That's what's most
Right.
important. She left her husband and her first husband, he lived in they lived in Queens. And I never we were like, I think after my father died, he called her like, oh, maybe we get back together. And at one point she was in nursing school. He said, because I still got all your nursing books here. She was like, yeah, sorry, he's still living in that same apartment I left him over 30 some years ago. With my nursing. I mean, you have sometimes people are like funny, with all that
Yeah.
kind of thing. It's crazy, you
Yeah.
know. But it was like when we talk about friendships. I know you never watched this TV show like Sex in the City, but it was it was about four friends, and one of the girls, she was the one that wanted to get married, have a family, and finally she got married. And the other girl, she had a lot of boyfriends. Next thing, and she got pregnant but didn't want to have the baby. She wasn't married and she wasn't even dating this guy they used to date. And she, slept with him, because he had testicular cancer. And he thought that it wasn't going to work anymore. So that's why and then she gets pregnant. So anyway, the other one is all upset because she's trying to get pregnant. She can't get pregnant. She has the fairy tale marriage and everything like that. And the friendship is that when she finds out her friend is pregnant and who doesn't even want the baby, she's even more upset. How can you get pregnant? I'm trying to get pregnant. And you don't even want the baby. She's all.
Hmm.
And so one day she goes to the doctor and they're on the street together. And she's coming from the doctor, the other one's going to work. And she's like, she walks by her. And the one that doesn't want the baby, she's like has a very aggressive personality. Oh, don't pretend that you didn't see me. You saw me. And she said, I don't have no energy to fight with you right now. I'm just leaving the doctor. And the doctor had told her she only has like a 5% chance of ever getting pregnant.
Mm.
And she takes the paper and she was like, so I don't want to hear nothing from you right now. And she said, you want me to walk with you? She says, no. And she said she walked behind her all the way home to
Hmm.
make sure that was her friend
Yeah.
and to make sure she got home safe.
Yep.
So I guess I say all that to say sometimes you cannot be in that person's face, but you can be behind them
Yep.
to have their back,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
And she didn't tell her she was going to walk behind her, but she knew she was
Did
walking
it.
behind her.
Yeah.
But the other friend knew she was walking behind her because she knew she loved her. She just had her back. She just couldn't face her at that point because she had what she wanted and she couldn't have it, you know.
That's a good way
And
to
that's
end.
what it is about.
I love
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
I love that. So I hope you all gained some wonderful nuggets today. Because we always do, even though
Yes, we do.
we're friends, we're sisters. We walk behind each other all the time. We walk
Yeah,
on
yes, we
we
do.
walk on the
Yes,
side
we
of each
do.
other, right? And sometimes we just stand in the corner and wait.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
Sometimes
that's
that's
true.
what you gotta do. Sometimes you just gotta
Hmm.
stand and wait until
Hmm.
something happens, but just always be there to catch your friends, catch your family, catch
Yeah.
people.
Catch them when they're falling.
That's right. Catch people when they're falling. And
Like
so
that was the episode of your show. The one with Randall. What's the
yeah,
name of the show?
which one? Oh, yes, This Is Us.
This Is Us. When
Yes.
the first season, when
Yep.
his brother, the actor, was going to be,
Yes.
and then he left because
Yep.
he knew something was wrong with Randall.
Yes.
Y'all
Yes.
remember that?
I love that
Hmm.
show. I
Yeah,
love
I
that
know. That's why I said the your show. I like the show
show.
too. It's
So
gripping for me.
it's
It
always, 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 as we
is.
tell you, just, live your life. Be
Yeah,
free,
be happy.
right? Be happy, be free, find your peace, find and surround yourselves with the people who give you peace, who bring you joy,
Oh, absolutely.
who
If they're not giving you peace, they got to go.
right, who encourage you to be the best version of yourself. Always remember, you're not in competition with anybody else. Only person
Mm-mm.
you compete with every day is you yourself and I.
Exactly. Hmm.
Those are the only people you compete with, and that's the only people you should be competing with. So again, we hope that you all join some, gain some nuggets today. As always, Steph, I love you. I love the fact that we have
Me too.
open conversation. And the one thing is that we don't get mad at one another. We don't get off the phone going, I can't believe she said that. What
No.
we love each other through whatever we're going through, and we're mature enough to understand that when we say something to one another, it is always in love, it is always
Hmm.
in concern, it is always in, I'm concerned, I'm worried about what's going on right now. And so, right, we
And it's
learn how
about
to,
respect too. It's
yeah,
about respect
right, and we
because
respect
you have to
each
read.
other. Right, and we learn how to walk behind each other. I love that. That's something we're gonna have to talk about a little bit deeper. I love that. So
Yeah,
find your people to walk behind,
that's right.
and find people to walk behind you.
Hmm.
And we hope that you all enjoy the rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend coming up. Enjoy yourselves. Love on each other. And I want to say happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. I love you,
Oh,
Steph.
thank you, honey. I'll be in my favorite place on earth in Savannah for my birthday.
Yes, enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it. Steph has a birthday
Thank
coming
you,
up
honey.
July 26th. So send her birthday wishes. Love on her. Let her know she is a wonderful and marvelously made. We love you. So thank you all so much. I'm Iris Denise Owens. And
Stephanie Gianni Green.
yes, and we love you all. Have a wonderful
Love you. Thank you. Have a
20.
great week and a great weekend.
Thank you.